It's just right across the street from the existing Coventry Court apartments. And we're, very preliminary here. This is the pre-application for the project. So it was just a checklist item that we be here tonight to get approval. And we're expecting these to be 3-bedroom condos. Total flow out of here is going to be like 5,865 gallons per day. The existing sewer line ends at Boston Street and Murray Street. So the proposal is to run an extension up Murray Street to this project somehow. We haven't quite figured out exactly how to do it yet, but that's the project.
Okay. Mr. Levesque, any issues with this time?
No, sir.
No? Okay. Anybody on the board have any questions or concerns?
Is this a tie-in? Is this planned for construction or what are you doing here?
Yes, so it's an existing raw lot and they're proposing to build the 17 condos.
So are we going to see inverts, laterals, that type of stuff on this or?
At this point, at this point, we're going to have to come back for that part.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just a checklist item on the planning.
So you just asked permission to
Yeah.
tie in?
Yeah, we need a letter from the commission. Yeah.
Okay, I'm okay with tying in as long as we get elevations, manhole steps and everything else.
Yeah, that'll be
Doing down-
Later down the road.
way down the road. Yeah.
So we know that place going to be all right.
Right. Yeah.
And Mr. Marchant, I'm assuming the letter that he's referring to is the resolution.
Yes.
Perfect. Any other questions? I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Got a first and a second voice vote. Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you. 5C, sewer application 9193 Sandy Bottom Road. Hi again.
I have to give them address. So Pat Walker Engineering Limited, 31 Vale Court, West Greenwich. This is the existing FNH machine and the doghouse plus. They're presently connected to a septic system out the back. The rear of the building has crawl space, which is why we're coming around the back of the building. The front is a slab, so it would make it very difficult. The dog groomer will have the hair traps put in, the fur traps put in the wash tubs. And there's just one bathroom in the FNH machine. So it's going to come around, manhole tie-in.
And just so you're aware, the assessment that we had previously
Yes,
spoke about.
we took care of that.
Yes.
He's pretty much almost all paid.
Yes, exactly.
He
So
almost
I
had
just,
heart failure
want-
when I called him when I-
I would have too. So I just wanted to make sure that you were aware. Does anybody on the board have any questions? Hearing none, I will take a motion to approve.
So moved.
I have a first and a second. Voice vote to approve. Aye.
Aye.
Ayes have it. We're all set.
Items will go before the town council.
Yes, I'm assuming at the very next town council meeting, 25th.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Item number 6, new business, sewer, 6A, sewer fund financial update FY21 audit, FY22 year to date, and FY23 budget. Mr. Marchant, are you covering this topic?
Yes. The financial update was just jogging my memory from last month. The fiscal year 21 audit is, some financials have all been submitted to the auditor. So that is a work in progress. And the finance is now shifting gears to focus on catching up on the 2022 monthly statements and bank reconciliations. So I'm hoping by the next meeting, I'll have an accurate report for year end 21 and 22.
Okay. And then what about the FY23 budget?
I don't have starting numbers to work with yet until the 21-22 are caught up.
Okay.
So we're going off of last year's budget. initially because our revenues are consistent as our expenditures. But one of the things that we're doing with Mr. Levesque, with these new engineering resources, the assistant town manager also comes with a wastewater operator's license and experience. So we're putting together a plan as we work with Fuss and O'Neill to develop the wastewater facilities plan to also look at our sewer program, how it's organized and how we can value engineer the budget. A number of our services haven't been bid out for several years, and we're getting to a point where we need to do a new RFP. And as we're getting into some of these issues, we're questioning some things that, you know, we looked at a logbook today in one of the pump stations, and we can't begin to fathom how they spent 4 hours at the pump station. There's no evidence of anything being done. So there's opportunities to move some of these inspections in-house and save on our consulting fees.
Okay, that'd be great. Anywhere we can save money. Two items I wanted to just quickly bring up. Member Sakosha had brought up the fact that West Warwick was increasing their fees. And then he had asked if Coventry was going to do the same for FY 22 into 23. I didn't know if you had spent any more time on that.
So I've discovered some things in the last week that we didn't have before. Apparently there was a 2019 rate study done, and I do not have a copy of it in any of the files, and neither could the engineering nor the assistant town manager find it. We got that from Reftalis in our meeting with Fuss and O'Neill. And apparently the recommendation in 2019 was to have done 25% increases each year.
Mhm.
And here we are 3 years later, not having done one. The statute for bond indebtedness and rate increases says you have to announce your rate increases for the next year by April 1.
So we already missed the deadline.
So we've missed that.
Okay.
And so we're in kind of response mode. We're going to prepare together with the facilities plan update, a new sewer program administration, organization interior. We're going to be prepared for April 1 or well
Next
before that to get this whole program online and running in a way that I'm expecting to have many public hearings, a lot of involvement with the sewer subcommittee, the town council, and even reaching out into the neighborhoods with public meetings so that people can be aware of just how we're going to strategically approach this asset.
Yeah, I mean, my opinion here, but I would appreciate a communication going out to any homeowner that is already connected if there is a potential rate increase happening, just so that they're aware. And we might want to include that when the town council does the budget discussions. We might also want to be looking at the sewer budget at that same time. It would probably make sense.
I think if we're aiming at any plans for the spring, until we're done with the wastewater facilities plan and all of the research and data that entails, this will all be part of the conversation. But I think the conversation about what the rate increase is going to be is going to start here with the sewer subcommittee. And from there, once there's a recommendation to consider moving forward to the town council, to public hearings, then we can plan to send a message out to the homeowners.
That makes sense. And my other item I wanted to bring up was the use of ARPA funds for any maintenance of the sewer project itself. I didn't know if you had any update on that, because I know we're allowed to use it on infrastructure. So I didn't know if there was an update there.
At this point, there is not. A couple of questions came up about how we're going to pay for this wastewater facilities plan update. Right now it's just generally going to be covered by the sewer fund, but the sewer fund doesn't have it explicitly called out in the budget. And right now, ARPA funds are looking very attractive, but I was also asked whether or not we're going to use the SRF revolving loan fund to reimburse the town for the expense of the facilities plan study. And I hadn't considered that. I'm not at the point where I have a financial plan about how we're going to build the system and how we're going to pay for things. So we know we're we're past due on updating our plan. We know we're trying to figure these things out and do our financials. So everything's in flux right now, but we're hoping to have it all nailed down in the next few months.
Appreciate the update. Anybody else have any questions? No, okay. Thank you, Mr. Marchant. Item 6B, wastewater facilities plan update.
We had our kickoff meeting on the 11th of July, and we are in the data gathering stage. And I'd like to introduce Laura Marcolini and her associate, Doug Brizzi. Yeah, I didn't want to say the wrong name, but I'd be happy to have them introduce themselves. And
Sure. If you want to come to the mic and introduce yourself.
Having us.
Absolutely. Thanks for
Laura.
being here.
This is my
Doug Brizzi.
associate Doug. We're going to be managing the project, the facilities planning project. We have hired as a sub-consultant, Ref Tellis, who is has a tremendous amount of experience with cost of service studies. They've done one, they're very familiar with the town, and they've actually completed one in 2019. So they're eager to update that for us, and we'll need to roll that into the larger facility plan update for RIDEM. One of the components that's required is a very strong public participation program. And so we've got a public open house and a public hearing in the schedule, probably November timeframe for the first open house, if you will, and 4 workshops with the town as part of the project. So the first step is going to be establishing the wastewater needs. So where are you today, and where would you be expected to be in 20 years? As far as the townwide sewering program goes, if it's and then we have to decide what our alternatives are, whether it's a townwide sewering project or whether it's certain neighborhoods are remaining on septic systems and groundwater discharges, and other areas become sewered, or some hybrid between those two. So first is establishing your wastewater needs, current and future. The next step would be the alternatives analysis. And at each one of those 2 milestones, we have a workshop planned with you all. And after that, we select the alternatives and the recommendations. We draft the facility plan at the 60% milestone. We'll come in, meet with you for the 3rd workshop, and then have the open house with the public.
When you say workshop, what do you talk? So subcommittee.
The town. So I'm not sure if it's going to be the subcommittee or the town.
I would think of it along the lines of what we are doing with the comprehensive plan, where we'll have kind of an open house workshop where we invite interested parties to attend. We'll try to get that out to key members of the community that have expressed an interest in sewers, and we'll build from there. It'll be a public meeting, but I don't think it will be convened as a meeting of the sewer subcommittee or the town council for the purposes of the workshop, but we can have members present.
I was a little struck to hear the first workshop would be November, because I know originally the timeline was.
So that's the anticipated open house with the public.
So
So-
workshops will take place ahead of that.
Workshops will take place. ahead of
Oh,
that.
okay.
Yes.
I remember in our.
So that would be the
conversation,
3rd.
November was like when you guys were kind of wrapping up.
Right, that's at the 60% milestone on that time frame. And so we're looking at the November, December timeframe for, the completed facility plan and presenting that to the town and also to the general public, or in whatever workshop hold at that point. So I'm anticipating Ref Tellis will be ready for cost of service study, presentation of cost of service study. And by October, we're really trying to push that, because that's one of the key pieces of the overall facility plan. So,
Okay.
Did I miss anything?
No.
Oh, I did. We did. So what we need to establish also, and we're going to work with Joe and the DPW, whoever else with the town, the areas for the facility plan for the sewering project. So the former facility plan had different sewer areas or planning areas and sewering contracts, if you will. They had listed contract 01, 02, 03 in different phases of the build out. And so we discussed whether we should maintain those, the naming, the nomenclature and the general areas, or just start from scratch. And I think we're going to start from scratch. So.
Thank you very much. Does anybody else on the board have any questions? None at this time. I do have a couple. Can you, just for the board's information, how many towns and cities do you provide your services to in Mass and Rhode Island? Roughly, just estimate.
Out of the 39 municipalities, I'm going to say it's in the 20s.
Okay.
For Rhode Island.
Yep.
Massachusetts, Kurt would know that. It's a very large
Clearly.
And Connecticut as well. We actually have an office in each of the 6.
Just over half in Rhode Island. So yeah, you guys have a good presence. Nope, I appreciate that. And then do you guys provide recommendations on financing and how the town should finance the sewer project that you're recommending to us?
So we have a very strong relationship with the infrastructure bank. And that's the main funding source, if you will, for sewering projects. SRF or grant monies will come through the infrastructure bank. And so when it comes time to have those discussions, we will. And if there are I think there are some current sewering projects that have a very imminent need, I guess, if you would say that. And so if you need assistance with that, we can definitely help with that, I think.
All right, great. And then my last question. Do you work with Weston and Sampson in other towns where they do the maintenance, but you do certain services?
I don't know of any.
Okay.
But I know,
Yep.
I know the 2 gentlemen that were here from Weston and Sampson at the interview. So.
Okay.
We work with other municipalities that have contract operators similar to Weston Sampson.
Perfect. But it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then, but does your company also provide maintenance services as well? If we were to ever go down that, if the town was ever to go down that route, or no?
We do not operate facilities.
No. Okay.
No. We're designers and builders, but not operators.
Okay. Really appreciate you answering my questions.
Okay.
And thanks for being here tonight.
Okay,
Thank
thank you.
Working with you.
You as well.
Thank you.
Item 6C, sewer ordinance proposed amendments. Mr. Marchant, do you want to start on that topic?
Sure. Chairman LeBlanc and I made a pass through the sewer ordinance and came up with some revisions. The intent of these revisions is to really be a stopgap to control the costs of what the sewer assessments could be going forward so that we could kind of begin to build a path for expanding our sewer infrastructure without excessively burdening our residents with the costs. And so this is just a quick cleanup. We have not had the time to develop the data-driven justification for the numbers we came up with. They're somewhat arbitrary, akin to the cost of a septic system. So the numbers are estimates, but we think they're fair, and it's a good start to allow the town to move forward with projects and planning. And we would expect that after these amendments are made, that we'd take another look at it at the end of the wastewater facilities plan and their recommendations with the data to give the town direction on either what rates to move to, or perhaps a completely different structure of how we approach sewer fees and sewer connections.
Thank you, Mr. Marchant. And just for the board and anybody listening from the public, in my opinion, there were 3 two major changes and then one kind of cleanup change. The two major changes, the first one was chapter 191-14. It actually places a cap on the residential sewer assessment to be 15,000. Anything over 15,000, the town and or sewer fund will have to cover those expenses for any street that is selected. The second one was to allow either a 20-year or a 30-year payback of the sewer assessment. And now with that being state law, we're kind of forced to actually include that in our ordinance change. And then the third one, not as significant, but it removes the DPW director from making any decisions and it places it on the town engineer anywhere in the ordinance where it calls out the DPW director. Those were the main changes, and I just wanted the board to be aware. Does the board have any questions on the sewer ordinance recommended changes?
What was the number on the last one that we changed?
It was chapter 191-14. That's the,
Included in those
yes.
three items.
No. So chapter 191 is the sewer ordinance itself. And it goes,
Right, that 14 was the.
-14 was the assessment itself. That was the major change. The
Well, that
last
was
one,
throughout the ordinance.
Yes.
Anytime it says Director of Public Works, we changed it to Town Engineer.
it would be chapter 191. And then every paragraph where DPW director was,
Is it on the 14?
it could be, hang on a second. I can try to find a couple at least. Give me 1 second.
So
It is quite a lengthy one.
the chapter 4,
Yep. I just, yep.
for I, J, K,
Yep.
L,
I see all those.
F.
So in 191-4 is where there were several changes from DPW director to town engineer. And then chapter 191-8, I do want to call out that the ordinance had said upon reasonable notice, but it didn't clarify whether that was a certified letter, an advertisement in the paper, a letter just mailed to the homeowners. So we changed it to say a certified letter to any homeowner where an inspection was being requested by the town.
I just had a question.
Sure.
So the section where it talks about having a waiver if your septic is still in good working order.
Mhm.
How will the town know when someone's septic system fails and need to go to them to tie in?
How will the town know? I'm assuming right now that the homeowner calls the town and says, hey, my septic is failing. Do you have sewers available to me? Is probably what happens at this current time, I would think.
We really don't have a mechanism
I
for
don't think so.
inspecting septics or cesspools or any of these conditions. And that's part of a bigger wastewater management program than just sewers, where we really ought to have an inspection of every system every 5 years. And that means you do 20% a year. And I know in Pennsylvania, the cost was put on the homeowner to pay for the inspection and then show proof that they had it inspected and that it passed. And if it didn't, if they were within a distance of sewer, they had to connect to sewer. If they weren't, they had to replace their septic or fix it. So that's like a component that we're missing here that should be one of those things that we're going to work towards establishing, because protecting the environment is really important even in rural areas.
Yeah, that was a whole concept I wanted to have with that section, but I wonder if us radio folks will work that in.
It's not part of the wastewater facility though. They'll address it kind of globally as maybe recommendations for the town to consider looking at. But when we're looking at our wastewater facilities, it's really the sewer infrastructure and the growth of that infrastructure.
Well, part of the growth of that is having a handle on if you've got a sewer running down past someone's house and they're still on septic. As a town, we should be monitoring that and ready to go when their septic fails to say, come on in.
Yeah.
I would think we would.
And I figured we currently did not. Member Sikosha?
I know in others, in some other local cities and towns, specifically Narragansett, if you're not on their sewer system, you're required to have an inspection every 3 years and provide that certificate to the town. If you do not, then the town deems your house to be unlivable until you make the correction. And to answer your original question, I think that a lot of the cities and towns report their streets to DEM so that in the event that there is nobody there to really check on them being able to go and apply for a new septic system and install it and the town not really know about it, DEM will say, well, you have sewers in front of your house. Why are you not connected to them?
Sounds like a stop.
Who reports them?
Usually, I believe the cities or the towns give to DEM a listing of the streets that they have,
Oh, that have sewers?
that have
but
sewer
They haven't
levels
connected.
and are available to them.
Got it.
So, and I know that, and I also know that in Warwick, we had done a job out there on another note, and they did have sewers in the street, but the sewer line didn't come all the way up the street past this house because they had ledge in the road. So the DEM, I'm sorry, the city wrote a letter providing it to the homeowner, and DEM then executed a septic system repair for that
Got it.
house. So.
And I know I had asked Mr. Marchant and Mrs. Hool to go back and look at the streets that had previously received assessments like long ago, and if those houses had connected. So that's another way that we know that they have them, but they haven't connected, the homeowners. So in any event.
That was my only thing. I didn't know if we needed to put something in writing about checking back in with people to make sure, even if they've gotten that waiver that we talked about here, because they functioning septic, the fun that happens afterwards. I don't know what that language looks like then.
Maybe the wastewater facilities plan will kind of mention it. And then as Mr. Marchant had said, this is kind of the first pass of updating a ordinance that really needs at least a start of changes. And then we can obviously refine it as necessary.
The only other thing I didn't see in here, but I might have missed it, was the other one that was brought up, which is dead ends and corner lots, and the language that says where those people, in which case the people have to tie it.
And there was actually a prime example on Hazard Street.
Yeah.
There was a corner lot. And even though the address is, if you're going to mail something to them, it's Hazard Street, they actually did not connect. But supposedly that was because a lateral to the house wasn't installed by the company doing the installation. But I agree, we probably could clarify if you have a corner lot, which one you have to connect to, just so it's not even a question.
Yeah.
But again, that can be refined.
Yep.
Later down.
Otherwise, those are my only two things.
Perfect. Yeah. Noted. Awesome. All right. Any other questions, comments? No. Item number 7, public subcommittee member comment. Anybody from the public want to speak?
Do we not need to vote that to the council, those recommendations, or now is this a first reading?
I guess it's a question for Mr. Marchant.
This is before the sewer subcommittee has proposed recommendation to the council, but it can be brought to the council by the signature of any council member. So it's really up to the pleasure of the committee if you want to endorse this.
I guess we can go back to 6C. Does the committee want to provide the council with the proposed amendments as discussed?
I would like to read this a little bit. I saw this come in yesterday, but I'm just looking at it now.
Okay.
Do you
That's
have
fair.
the changes that were made?
Yeah.
You don't have any red lines?
They're highlighted.
The-
It
highlighted.
might just be different.
On the phone.
Pulling it up on your phone.
This is
Yeah.
I can give you this red line document.
That's the one that was
It's the
sent
same
to
one in
us,
the
right?
packet.
Yeah.
I don't have the packets. I just got an email. That's what I got. This is highlighted.
So if, Tony, if you want to push this to our next meeting, we can do that. It's not,
I would like to review it.
okay.
But good, if that's okay.
Sure. No problem. All right, so we will hold off on providing anything to the council until our next meeting so that we can vote on it.
Okay.
I don't know.
Speaking of the next meeting, I'll bring this up as a matter. It is permissible to discuss scheduling of next meetings, but we were remiss in setting meeting dates for the year and posting them as you're supposed to. And so we've been proceeding with the second Wednesday as has been tradition, but I want to confirm now if the second Wednesday in August is acceptable for a meeting.
Didn't we have a
I
schedule?
thought we voted on
We-
this already.
Yeah, we already had a schedule.
I didn't find it in the minutes from last
It was the meeting before that.
year.
We voted on it.
Yeah, because I have a schedule.
It's not on the Secretary of State's website and it wasn't advertised as such. So that's why I'm bringing it up just to verify. So the next meeting would be August 10th. And we can bring in the dates for the rest of the year next month for discussion and adoption. If you can reference where I should look to find it, then I'll just update the Secretary of State's website.
Because I have it printed out.
Okay.
And bring the dates next time.
Yeah, I checked with the town clerk and she didn't have it posted or in her record. So
I guess, does August 10th work for everybody?
We have a second Wednesday.
Yes, it is. Okay. Anybody from the public have any comments? Nope. Anybody online, Ben?
no one online.
No, okay. I guess I will take a motion to adjourn.
I got a comment.
Oh, sorry, good.
This Sandy Lane project, how's that going along with
Sandy Bottom.
Yeah, Sandy Bottom Road.
the compaction and pipe moving and
Well, they managed to do a lot of work and I didn't get any complaints and I had no reports of any damage to the town's infrastructure. So
do we have any data from the engineering of that line or?
I'll follow up on that. I haven't gotten any reports. I know we had a pre-meeting where they said they would be communicative and if they've been communicating with Mr. Hagerman, it hasn't been passed on to me. So I'll follow up and get that.
Yeah, last time we talked to Bruce, he was watching it. I don't know who's watching it now. And who's keeping an eye on it.
We'll make sure that baton gets passed to Joe.
And this is Joe, the new
Yeah.
town engineer. Oh,
Anything else?
no, that was it.
Okay. One last time. Anybody have any other questions, comments, concerns?
Yeah.
No. Okay. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Second it.
Good. Voice vote. Aye.
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 Meeting adjourned at 7:05 PM.
There was a number.